think so. Welcome to Monday, everybody. Today, I'm honoured to introduce Calum McGonigle as a guest for two reasons. One, because we had a great chat over coffee at a restaurant a few weeks ago talking about automation, and I couldn't help but bring him on. But also because as much as I can get my hands dirty with some code every now and again, I know that I'm a mere mortal when it comes to automation of any kind. And focus my attention on process. So, Calum, do you want to quickly say hi, and I'll throw a topic up?
Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, it's glad to be on here. Yeah, so we specialise in process automation, and I was really happy to catch up with Jamie a few weeks ago. We focus mostly on just basically helping business owners and their employees be more productive and trying to automate those sort of admin tasks and tasks they don't want to do, so they can focus on higher value work to help grow their business. Yeah, that's what we're about.
So I'll use that as a segue to bring up a picture. My view on automation, and often when I talk to people, I'll tell them that if you jump straight to automation, then you're likely to spend too much money because you're fixing or trying to automate something that you haven't bothered fixing. So I've got a simple 4-square view of process on the page here. Frequency up and down, so how often you do something, from low frequency at the bottom to high frequency at the top, and how complex it is from low complexity, really simple stuff on the left to high complexity stuff on the right. And I'll quickly work my way around my blanket recommendations, and then we'll talk a bit about where does it make sense to automate. I'm going to start at the low frequency stuff. So when I say low frequency, I mean less than once a month, or maybe once or twice a month. So not very often. If you're not doing it, if it's low complexity, then my view is delegate, possibly to somebody on your team, possibly to somebody outside your team. If it's high complexity, and the best example that I can think of a high complexity, low frequency activity is doing your end of financial year accounts. Outsource to a specialist. Most of us go to a registered accountant because legally you have to. At the top of the high frequency activities, and it's a bit vague as to how much is high frequency, but I think at least 10 or 20 times a week. But it could be as much as 10 or 20 times an hour that you're doing this. If it's simple, then I think automate. And if it's complex, then I think optimize. And when I say optimize, what I really mean is try to stop it from being the combination of complex and high frequency, either by breaking out the pieces that are complex and making them low frequency. So use your 80-20 Pareto principle, find the 80% which is easy, pull them out, and then leave behind the 20% that have exceptions, and either get rid of them completely. I'll talk about that a bit more next week, or alternatively, give them to somebody who's got the high skill set, so that hopefully you don't end up with anything in that top right-hand corner that's high frequency and high complexity, or at least not too much of it. What are your thoughts, Calum?
Yeah, I think it's a really good little way of sort of assessing what things should be automated or not. I mean, we get asked all the time, what by business owners, like, I'm interested in automation, what should I automate? And something like this would be a great tool for them to use. I often tell them to go with their gut as well. Sometimes they just have a gut feel, hey, there's got to be a better way to do things than the way we're doing it already. Sometimes, like you said, that can be to do with delegation or simplifying the way they're doing things, or again, it can be to do with automation. But generally, business owners have got a bit of a feeling, or their employees have got a feeling about something that they're doing that isn't working for whatever reason. It's taking up way too much time, or it's just not optimal for the business. Yeah, so I think this is a great little matrix to help them sort of look at what they could be automating or what they could be improving in other ways. And the other way that we sort of suggest to businesses is to sort of just look at your, a couple of key aspects of your business. You can talk about your customer journey from, initial inquiry through all the way through the, discovery and quoting and proposal, through to delivering the service, through to maintaining the customer, or the same, to look at the same lens through your employee journey as well, from hiring through to induction and onboarding through to annual reviews and things like that. So they're just some of the things that we say to clients, but this is a really valuable tool as well, for sure.
And what do you reckon? Where's the threshold? How many times do you have to do something before it's worthwhile automating it?
I'm glad you didn't put me on the spot. I think it's a really hard thing to answer because it just depends on the business. But thinking about what you were saying, the frequency, sometimes monthly, even things that are done monthly can be quite time consuming. So for example, financial or sales or performance reports can take hours to produce. So even though they're only done monthly, and especially if you're doing reports on behalf of clients, if you're some sort of consultant. So even monthly, even though it's not that high frequency, that could be taking 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, especially if you're doing this for, clients that you have a retainer with. So, things sometimes even monthly can be quite time consuming. It can be worth looking at automating. But yeah, definitely the numbers you were talking about, when you're doing multiple things a week, then you should definitely look at it, especially if you're really busy and it makes you have to context switch all the time. If you're a person that's got a lot of plates in the air and you're switching between things all the time, that's really bad for your brain and productivity. So yeah, so things like, I think you said 10 to 20 times a week, even sometimes lower than that, I would suggest is a good number, just depending, how long the task takes and how much you've got on board, right?
Certainly, I'd say if you got the combination of you're doing it more times than you want to, and you think it can be automated, I think it's worth having a crack at it.
Yeah.
I'm a process improvement person, so the first thing I'd say is work out whether or not you even need to be doing it at all before you go and spend any money on automating it. Obviously, with tools in the marketplace nowadays, even a moderately tech-savvy person can have a go at some simple automation, things like Zapier, that mean you can do obvious things like copy appointments within calendars and things like that. If you've got an appetite, you can have a play with that. But obviously, even I recognise after a couple of decades in IT that I'm not skilled enough to know where to go to do the more complicated stuff. So when it gets more complicated, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. Even if only to find out that it's too complicated and too expensive. Yeah.
At least you know. Yeah. At least you're informed, I guess. Yeah.
Perfect. Any parting thoughts before I stop for the week?
No, that's great. I think it's just having a think about, using this sort of matrix or some of the ideas that we talked about, just to sort of have a look at your business and see if there's anything that can be improved, whether it's through automation or process improvement is always a really good thing to do. So definitely.
Yeah, and I agree with your thoughts. Follow the customer journey, follow the employee's journey as your team gets bigger. That gives you some real insights into where you can look for places to automate.
Sure.
Thanks again for joining me today, Calum.
Thank you,
we'll
Jamie.
get a chance to do this again. I'll sign off on behalf of both of us. Catch everybody next week. I'm going to talk about process improvement. What a surprise.
Thanks, Jamie.
Cheers, everyone.
See ya.